Welcome back, Officers Republics, of course, on Honorable Police Chief APGAINS. One of the main questions I get, either on stream while we're doing roster reviews or in the comment section, or just in general, I mean, I get, well, all of the questions, but one of the more frequent ones, especially since my content is geared mostly towards early and mid-game free-to-play or low-spender players, is which Revan is better. Now, we've talked about this extensively on stream, but to be fair, we talk about everything extensively on stream. For those of you guys who maybe don't catch the streams as often, I'll summarize it just a wee bit here and kind of give you some pros, some cons of, you know, should you have one Revan? Should you have two Revan? Should you have red Revan? Should you have blue Revan? Which one should you get first? Which one's better? All right, so most of the arguments between these two are fairly arbitrary in my opinion. I don't think that there's any substantial, you know, this one is better than that one. I have always, on all of the accounts that I've run, all the free-to-play accounts that I've run, I've always just gone Darth Revan first because he's so much better than Jedi Knight Revan. He does take a little tiny incy-wincy bit more investment, if you can call it investment, to get Jedi Knight Revan, but both of the requirements are basically negligible in the grand schemes of this game. I mean, we just got the, you know, Jabba is going to require 15 characters at R5, R7, R8, R9 plus. The Profundity is requiring an R9 ship. Even, you know, the least expensive good character like Starkiller still requires 4 marquee characters at R5, right? So Jedi Knight Revan's requirements are essentially a Gear 8 Bastila Shan, a Gear 8 Jolee Bindo, and Gear 2 or 3 of the rest of them. Darth Revan, on the other hand, requires probably a Gear 11 Bastila Shan with like a Gear 10 HK and then like Gear 7 for the rest of them, which is, you know, more, but not exactly a lot more in the grand scheme of things. Now, the reason I've always gone Darth Revan first is because most players go Jedi Knight Revan first and Darth Revan even without Malak. I'm not even going to consider Malak in any of these equations, so all those people are like, oh, of course Darth Revan's better, he has Malak. We're not even going to talk about Malak in this video. He exists to counter Jedi Knight Revan, and Jedi Knight Revan is the character that most people end up getting first, and people love to slap him on defense because he can be annoying. Both of these characters can be annoying on defense. Darth Revan, obviously, is much better on defense, and obviously much better on offense. But the reason that I think that most of this argument is arbitrary is because just they don't require that much time to get. So it's like, you can't really say like, oh, you have to get Jedi Knight Revan first, or you have to get Darth Revan first. I always went Darth Revan first because I found that you got, you know, a little bit extra value, a little bit of extra juice for the squeeze, if it were. A little bit tiny, a tiny incy-wincy bit of juice to the screen. Come on, let me type in words. A little bit of extra juice for the squeeze in the earlier parts of Grand Arena because you could take advantage of people that went Jedi Knight Revan. But like, if you went Hyperdrive Bundle, you basically have 2/5 of Jedi Knight Revan already done, and a lot of people, you know, tend to do Hyperdrive Bundle. I always tell people, should you spend money in this game? Absolutely not, unless you fall into two categories. You directly profit from it, i.e. you're a streamer or a content creator or somehow, or you could set the money on fire and you literally wouldn't care. But that being said, if you do want to spend money, the Hyperdrive Bundle is probably the only good value thing in the entire game. It saves you a couple months, probably about 3 months of your life, and gives you an unlimited amount of resources. Not unlimited, literally, but a an inconsequentially large amount of resources and characters and ships. And most importantly, ships. So if you do fall into that category, Jedi Knight Revan, obvious number one, they give you a 5-star Jolee Bindo and a 5-star Bastila Shan fallen right off the bat. What are their uses? I mean, a lot of people who are watching this still, you know, shout out to people who are still 4 minutes deep into this video. What are the pros and the cons? Jedi Knight Revan and Darth Revan are both good on offense and defense. I tend to always use Jedi Knight Revan versus like a General Grievous, a Padme, a CLS, a Qui-Gon, something like that. Darth Revan I use against anything, pretty much anything except for gas, even though I have beaten a couple of solid gases with my Darth Revan team. I imagine once I get Malgus, and that's not going to apply to any of you guys, because Malgus is a character that you're going to get about the mid-game, about the 4 to 5 to 6 million GP range. And if you're just worrying about which Revan should I unlock first, that does not have to play into your consideration whatsoever. Speaking of things that you shouldn't really consider when deciding between both of these Revans, I remember way long time ago, I was arguing for, you know, a brand new non-hyperdrive free-to-play player to go Darth Revan first, because they both don't take that much time, and Darth Revan he is just a better character. Like, he exists to be better. Like, the reason he exists is because he's better than Jedi Knight Revan. That's the only reason he existed in the game, was because he was better than Jedi Knight Revan. Because Jedi Knight Revan was the pay-to-win, you know, God's child of you can't beat me, right? So he exists to be better than the thing that existed to be better than everything. Way back in the old days. And someone, I can't remember who it was, but, well, obviously I don't remember who it was. It was like 2 years ago. Someone was like, Jedi Knight Revan, obviously better because you can use him super late game with JML. You can't use Darth Revan with a Galactic Legend, right? Now, you can technically use him with C, but you shouldn't. And I just remember, like, that's just kind of like a more overarching theme that I see when a lot of people talk about what you should and shouldn't do is they factor in things that don't matter for years. Now, there's things that don't matter for years that you should focus on, and there's things that don't matter for years that you shouldn't focus on. You know, picking between which Revan you should go for first and, you know, arguing arbitrarily about the which one Revan, two Revan, red Revan, blue Revan, because of a JML usage that you're going to have 2 or 3 years in the future, probably not something worth arguing about. You know, farming the Revans as opposed to farming some other random team that probably won't hold its weight in the future. Now, that is something where, you know, we're talking long-term and we should focus on. But as far as I don't know if this myth, I don't even know if it's a myth, but if this opinion still floats out there, because I remember this being a pretty prominent opinion on streams maybe 1 or 2 years ago, was that, you know, you need to use these characters solely for how you're going to use them when you're 9 million GP. Now, most of the people who are watching this video right now, I hate to say it, you will literally never be 8 or 9 million GP in your entire life, and I'm sorry. You just like me, you're just too poor, and that's just the way that, you know, we want to talk to Capital Games. We can only talk to them via our satellite wallets. You know, hello, Capital Games? Oh, yes. Can I have Malgus? Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Can I have Jabba? No. The Titty? Maybe, but it'll take me 6 months. Oh, you're opening up the proving grounds? Oh, so I spent a year trying to get them all. Can I have them now? Can I whale on them? Oh, I can't. It's gonna take another 9 months to get them. Oh, okay, my bad. Capital Games. Sorry, Capital Games was calling me. When Capital Games calls, you have to answer. But just remember that you're an early or a mid-game player. Like, you're making these decisions for how they're going to affect your grand arenas right now. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't, you know, some characters you shouldn't farm, right? I don't know what characters are those that you shouldn't farm. You know, the fucking Jawas. Like, everything in this game is kind of useful. And the Jawas kind of useful if you're 8 or 9 or 10 million GP. Yeah, you can kind of do some stuff with them. But that's not a long-term investment. You know, we're not arguing, you know, should we get Jawa Engineer first or Jawa or Lobot, right? These are not arguments that are being... So anything that's good, like, you know, just do your own thing, man. Do your own thing. You want to go Jedi Knight Revan first because you think he's cooler. You want to go Darth Revan because you think he's cooler. You have a couple extra Jedi, so Jedi Knight Revan's better for you. You already have a Basilisk on Fallen, and you really like, you know, a strong defensive team. Do whatever makes you happy. Shout out to the 6% who watched past 8 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. Bye-bye.